Picture this. You're walking through a crowded restaurant and you notice something fascinating. There's a man at table 7 who has every woman in the room stealing glances at him. He's not the tallest guy there, he's not wearing the most expensive suit, and he's definitely not the loudest person in the room. Yet something about him commands attention in a way that's almost magnetic. What you're witnessing isn't luck or natural charisma. It's the power of specific masculine gestures that trigger deep, primal responses in the female psyche. These aren't random movements or coincidental behaviors. They're calculated demonstrations of value that have been studied, tested, and proven effective by the world's leading experts in attraction psychology. Robert Greene, in his masterpiece, The Art of Seduction, talks about the power of nonverbal communication, stating that actions speak louder than words because they bypass the rational mind and speak directly to our emotions. What I'm about to share with you today goes beyond simple body language tips you've heard before. These are 5 specific masculine gestures that create lasting impressions in a woman's mind, gestures that she'll remember weeks, months, even years after your encounter. The science behind this is rooted in evolutionary psychology. Women are hardwired to notice and remember signs of strength, protection, and dominance because these traits historically ensured survival and successful reproduction. The first gesture that burns itself into a woman's memory is what I call the protective shield. This isn't about being possessive or controlling. It's about demonstrating your natural instinct to protect what matters to you. Here's how it works. When you're walking with a woman through a crowded space, you instinctively place your hand on the small of her back, guiding her through the crowd. But here's the crucial part. You position your body slightly behind and to the side of her, creating a physical barrier between her and the chaos around you. Your shoulders are squared, your chest is open, and your eyes are scanning the environment, not in a paranoid way, but with the calm confidence of someone who's in control of his surroundings. This gesture taps into what psychologist David Buss calls female mate preferences for protection. In his extensive research on human mating strategies, Buss found that women are instinctively attracted to men who demonstrate the ability and willingness to protect them from both physical and social threats. When you execute the protective shield correctly, you're not just guiding her through a crowd. You're demonstrating that you're the type of man who notices potential dangers and takes action to mitigate them without making a big show of it. The power of this gesture lies in its subtlety. You're not announcing your protective instincts with words or dramatic actions. Instead, you're letting your body language speak for you. Your hand placement should be firm but not possessive. Your positioning should be natural but deliberate, and your awareness should be obvious but not paranoid. When a woman experiences this, her subconscious mind registers several things simultaneously. You're physically capable, you're situationally aware, you're considerate of her comfort, and you're willing to put yourself between her and potential harm. I learned this principle from studying the work of Mystery, one of the original pickup artists who understood that attraction isn't logical, it's emotional and biological. He observed that women respond positively to men who demonstrate what he called leader of men qualities, and the protective shield is a perfect example of this. You're not trying to impress her with your strength or dominance, you're simply demonstrating these qualities through your actions. The second unforgettable gesture is the confident pause. This is a moment of deliberate stillness that demonstrates your comfort with yourself and your environment. Picture this scenario. You're in conversation with a woman, and she asks you a question or makes a statement that requires a thoughtful response. Instead of immediately jumping into your answer like most men do, you pause. Not an awkward, uncomfortable pause, but a confident, deliberate moment of silence where you maintain eye contact. Take a slow breath and consider your words before speaking. This gesture is incredibly powerful because it demonstrates several attractive qualities simultaneously. First, it shows that you're not reactive or impulsive. You're a man who thinks before he speaks. Second, it demonstrates that you're comfortable with silence, which is a sign of inner confidence and self-assurance. Third, it shows that you value the conversation enough to give thoughtful responses rather than just filling the air with words. The psychology behind the confident pause is rooted in what researchers call perceived status and dominance. High-status individuals in any social hierarchy are comfortable with taking time to respond because they don't feel the need to prove themselves or fill every moment with chatter. They understand that their presence and attention are valuable, and they act accordingly. When you execute a confident pause, You're subconsciously communicating that you're a high-value individual who doesn't need to rush or scramble for approval. The key to mastering this gesture is understanding the difference between a confident pause and an awkward silence. A confident pause is accompanied by maintained eye contact, relaxed body posture, and a subtle smile or nod that acknowledges what she said. You might even lean back slightly, demonstrating that you're comfortable in your own space. The duration should be between 2 to 4 seconds, long enough to demonstrate thoughtfulness but not so long that it becomes uncomfortable. The third gesture that leaves a lasting impression is what I call the decisive movement. This is about how you navigate physical spaces and make decisions about where to go and what to do. When you're with a woman, whether it's on a date or in a social situation, there are countless micro-decisions that need to be made. Which table to sit at, which direction to walk, which drink to order, where to stand in a crowded room. Most men either ask permission for every little decision or make choices hesitantly, constantly looking for approval or validation. The decisive movement is different. When you enter a restaurant, you quickly scan the room and confidently lead her to a table that you've determined is optimal, perhaps one that offers privacy for conversation, but also allows you to see the room and have your back to a wall. You don't ask, "Where would you like to sit?" in a helpless tone. Instead, you might say, "Let's take that table over there," while gently guiding her in that direction. If she expresses a preference for a different location, you're flexible and accommodating, but your initial movement was confident and decisive. This gesture draws from the principles outlined in books like The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi, who emphasizes the importance of masculine leadership in romantic relationships. Tomassi argues that women are attracted to men who can make decisions confidently because it demonstrates leadership potential and reduces the cognitive load on the woman. She doesn't have to worry about making every little decision because she trusts that you're capable of making good choices for both of you. The decisive movement isn't about being controlling or ignoring her preferences. It's about taking initiative and demonstrating leadership while remaining open to input and feedback. When you master this gesture, you're communicating several things. You're confident in your judgment, you're willing to take responsibility for outcomes, you're considerate of the overall experience, and you're comfortable in a leadership role. The fourth unforgettable gesture is the grounded stance. This is about how you position your body in space, particularly when you're standing or walking. Most men don't pay attention to their physical presence, but women notice everything about how you carry yourself. The grounded stance involves planting your feet shoulder-width apart, distributing your weight evenly, keeping your shoulders back and down, and maintaining a straight but relaxed posture. But here's what makes this gesture truly powerful. It's not just about standing up straight. It's about occupying space with intention and purpose. When you're in conversation, you don't shift your weight from foot to foot or fidget with your hands. Instead, you remain physically still and centered, like a tree with deep roots. Your movements, when you do make them, are deliberate and purposeful rather than nervous or reactive. The psychological impact of the grounded stance is significant because it demonstrates what psychologists call embodied confidence. Research in social psychology has shown that how we hold our bodies affects not only how others perceive us, but also how we perceive ourselves. When you maintain a grounded stance, you're not only appearing more confident and attractive to others, but you're also actually feeling more confident and self-assured. This gesture is particularly powerful in social situations where there might be other men vying for attention. While they might be puffing out their chests, raising their voices, or making exaggerated gestures, you remain grounded and centered. This contrast makes you stand out as the calm, confident presence in the room. Women notice this because it suggests that you're comfortable with yourself and don't need to compete or prove anything to anyone. The grounded stance also involves how you walk. Instead of hurried, scattered movements, your walk should be purposeful and measured. Your stride should be confident but not overly long. Your pace should be steady but not rushed. And your overall movement should convey that you know where you're going and why you're going there. This ties back to the evolutionary psychology principle that women are attracted to men who display signs of confidence and self-assurance because these traits suggest good genes and survival capabilities. The fifth and most powerful gesture is what I call the attentive lean. This is a subtle but incredibly effective way of demonstrating your focus and interest without appearing needy or desperate. When a woman is speaking to you, particularly about something important or personal, you lean in slightly, not dramatically, but just enough to close the physical distance between you and signal that you're fully present and engaged in what she's saying. The key to the attentive lean is that it's selective and intentional. You don't lean in for casual conversation or small talk. You reserve this gesture for moments when she's sharing something meaningful, telling a story that matters to her, or expressing an opinion that she cares about. By leaning in at these specific moments, you're demonstrating that you can recognize when something is important to her, and that you respect and value her thoughts and feelings. This gesture is based on principles from books like Models by Mark Manson, who emphasizes the importance of genuine interest and emotional connection in attraction. Manson argues that women are most attracted to men who can demonstrate authentic interest without neediness or desperation. The attentive lean perfectly embodies this principle because it shows interest and engagement while maintaining your own center and confidence. The attentive lean works because it creates what researchers call interpersonal intimacy, a sense of connection and closeness that goes beyond surface-level interaction. When you lean in at the right moments, you're creating a bubble of intimacy between the two of you, even in a crowded room. This makes her feel special and valued, which are emotions that create lasting, positive memories. But here's what makes this gesture truly unforgettable. It demonstrates emotional intelligence and social calibration. You're showing that you can read social and emotional cues, that you understand the difference between casual conversation and meaningful communication, and that you're emotionally mature enough to respond appropriately to different situations. These are qualities that women find incredibly attractive because they suggest that you'd be a good partner in a long-term relationship. The timing of the attentive lean is crucial. It should happen naturally during conversation, triggered by her emotional state rather than by your desire to appear interested. You might notice a change in her tone, a softening of her voice, or a more serious expression on her face. These are your cues to lean in slightly, maintaining eye contact and perhaps nodding subtly to show that you're following what she's saying. What makes all 5 of these gestures so powerful is that they work together to create an overall impression of masculine confidence and emotional intelligence. You're not just using isolated tricks or techniques. You're demonstrating a complete package of attractive qualities through your body language and behavior. The protective shield shows that you're strong and aware. The confident pause shows that you're thoughtful and self-assured. The decisive movement shows that you're a leader and decision maker. The grounded stance shows that you're centered and confident. And the attentive lean shows that you're emotionally intelligent and genuinely interested. These gestures are memorable because they trigger deep evolutionary responses in women. They're not responding to your gestures on a conscious level. They're responding on a primal, biological level that's been shaped by millions of years of evolution. The women who were attracted to men with these qualities were more likely to survive and reproduce successfully, so modern women have inherited these preferences. The beauty of these gestures is that they're not manipulative or fake. They're authentic expressions of masculine confidence and strength. When you master them, you're not pretending to be someone you're not. You're becoming the best version of yourself. You're developing the qualities that make you genuinely attractive and appealing, not just to women, but to everyone around you. The scientific research supporting these principles is extensive. Studies in evolutionary psychology have consistently shown that women are attracted to signs of confidence, strength, protection, and emotional intelligence. Research in social psychology has demonstrated the power of nonverbal communication in creating attraction and building relationships. And studies in neuroscience have revealed how certain behaviors trigger positive emotional responses in the brain. Understanding these gestures from a scientific perspective helps you implement them more effectively because you understand why they work, not just how they work. When you know that the protective shield triggers a woman's evolutionary need for protection and security, you can execute it with genuine intent rather than just going through the motions. When you understand that the confident pause demonstrates high-status behavior, you can use it naturally rather than forcing it into conversations where it doesn't belong. The key to mastering these gestures is practice and authenticity. You can't just read about them and expect to execute them perfectly in real-world situations. You need to practice them in low-stakes environments until they become natural and automatic. Start by focusing on one gesture at a time, perhaps the grounded stance, since it's something you can practice anywhere. Pay attention to how you feel when you maintain proper posture and how others respond to you differently. As you become comfortable with one gesture, gradually incorporate the others into your repertoire. Remember that the goal isn't to use all 5 gestures in every interaction. It's to have them available as tools that you can use when appropriate. Sometimes the situation might call for the protective shield, other times the attentive lean might be more appropriate. Developing this social calibration takes time and experience, but it's what separates truly attractive men from those who are just going through the motions. The impact of mastering these gestures extends far beyond romantic relationships. When you carry yourself with confidence, make decisions decisively, protect those around you, remain grounded under pressure, and show genuine interest in others, you become more attractive to everyone, not just women. You become a better friend, a more effective leader, and a more respected member of your community. These gestures also have a positive feedback effect on your own psychology. When you act confident and strong, you begin to feel more confident and strong. When you take protective action, you develop a stronger sense of responsibility and leadership. When you practice the attentive lean, you become genuinely more interested in others and better at building meaningful connections. The men who master these 5 masculine gestures don't just become more attractive to women. They become more attractive human beings overall. They develop genuine confidence rather than fake bravado, authentic strength rather than aggressive posturing, and real emotional intelligence rather than manipulative techniques. This is what true seduction is about, not tricking someone into being attracted to you, but becoming genuinely attractive through the development of positive masculine qualities. Remember that these gestures are tools, not rules. The most important thing is that you execute them authentically and appropriately for each situation. A gesture that works perfectly in one context might be completely wrong in another. Developing the judgment to know when and how to use each gesture is part of the journey toward becoming a more attractive and confident man. The 5 masculine gestures I've shared with you today, the protective shield, the confident pause, the decisive movement, the grounded stance, and the attentive lean, are powerful tools for creating lasting positive impressions. When executed properly, they communicate confidence, strength, emotional intelligence, and genuine interest in ways that bypass logical thinking and speak directly to the emotional and biological systems that drive attraction. But remember, these gestures are just the beginning. True attractiveness comes from genuine self-improvement, authentic confidence, and the development of valuable skills and qualities. Use these gestures as stepping stones toward becoming the kind of man that others naturally want to be around, and you'll find that attraction becomes a natural byproduct of your personal development rather than something you have to work to create.